So most people do not hire a wrong professional, but they hire the right professional at the wrong time. Nowadays, we've come across a very interesting term called the interior stylist. So, who are these people exactly? I would say that a stylist and an interior designer need to go hand in hand. Connect them to each other so that your project or your dream home can, turn out absolutely beautiful the way you imagined it. So, most people do not hire a wrong professional, but they hire the right professional at the wrong time. So, I want to clarify certain roles, certain leaderships, certain attributes that are taken by the architect versus interior designer versus the interior stylist. So, as a layperson, I know a lot of people who get confused about the roles of an interior designer versus the interior stylist, that they actually end up taking an interior stylist's role after the architect is done with his or her job. So, let me explain you what an architect is. An architect is a person who designs the spatial framework, the structure of your residence, be it an apartment or a bungalow or a villa. So he's the one who's responsible for the strength, how safe the structure is. Even if you want to expand the particular residence after a couple of years, like suppose if it's a bungalow and you have a small family, you want a horizontal expansion or a vertical expansion, for example, he or she is the one who's responsible to lay a kind of foundation which will withhold everything that you want to do according to your future needs. So, when I was studying, I did a basic subject on architectural drawing, wherein when we used to design a bare shell home or a space, we were told that, it's actually a role of an architect, but you must get the glimpse of it. We were given a bare shell plot or a land, and a client brief was given to us, and we used to connect each and every space, reading the client brief thoroughly. Every little bubble we used to create was in accordance to the brief that was given to us. If there is a living room, for example, and there's a powder room, they need to be together. And of course, the dining table or the dining area follows. Why? Because the powder room is designed specially for the guest who visit your place or the ones you're hosting. So, entertainment zones were separate and the private zones were separate. So, basically, if you see the architect, when the brief is given to an architect, he or she understands what is the kind of life consumer wants to lead, what are the kind of areas they want, if they want a gaming room, if they want a home theater. And the structure is built in such a way that, the entire grids, the columns, the beams are designed that, the walls, any which ways, have to fall under those beams only. Of course, once the interior designer enters, he or she has to create certain partitions, certain panelings, everything. But the core, the principle, the main guy or the main female behind, how your house looks from outside or how safe it is solely dependent on the architect. Secondly, if I talk about an interior designer, once this structure or the framework is given by the architect, the interior designer's role comes in. He or she has to bring that sort of a framework into a daily lifestyle. When I get up from my bed, where will the curtains be? If I open the window, can I actually go sit in my balcony on my outdoor furniture and read my newspaper? So all these details that convert or translate the spatial framework into a day-to-day life is taken care by the interior designer. It's also very important that you align your designer with the architect so that both the teams, they work hand in hand and they know that what's happening in the phase 1 and what follows in the phase 2. We've also seen that some really renowned architects also have a qualification or are professionally trained to do the interiors. So even that works out fine because from, starting from point A to Z, they know everything that follows. An interior designer would basically take up, work like the wall panelings, the partitions, if required any, could be wooden partitions, could be gypsum partitions. Sometimes it's also, some brick walls, of course, understanding the structure, and only then the changes are done. And sometimes, of course, the ceiling is made by the architect, but it is not in reverence to the design that we are trying to follow. So then a bit of changes are done on the ceiling, and following the circuit and the electrical plan of the architect, we continue with our work. Mostly 90% of the times the project is done. So the flooring, the marble or the tiles, everything was laid by the architect, and then we carried the project forward, so on. Mostly my, scope of work includes the furniture, one, all upholstery, be it the carpets, the curtains, the cushions, the bed upholstery, sofa upholstery, everything, all the fillers, the small little poofs, your furniture for the mandir, every little area. And sometimes, of course, the wardrobes as well, because, the aesthetic part of the shutters is really important to be in sync with the furniture, and kitchen as well, because that's the heart of the house, any home. So it's very important for a kitchen to also look aesthetically pleasing, so that the kind of interactions, the kind of cooking that happens is altogether a different game. So the wall panelings, of course. So when like a white canvas or a bare shell has been given to an interior designer, the beautification, the layering part, everything is done by him or her. Then nowadays we've come across a very interesting term called the interior stylist. So who are these people exactly? So these are the ones who actually provide, again, a little more layering to what the interior designer has done. Say, for example, you enter a living room and you see some interesting coffee table book. So that's the job of a interior stylist. Small little artifacts, the amazing posters that you see at your friend's place or a relative's place, a small box of, tissue paper holder, some interesting tea light candles, all these little layering, little details, these are provided by the stylist. So again, I would say that a stylist and an interior designer need to go hand in hand. Connect them to each other so that your project or your dream home can, turn out absolutely beautiful the way you imagined it. हमें बहुत बार लगता है कि हमने एक बहुत अच्छा इंटीरियर स्टाइलिस्ट हायर करा है, बट जो रेंडर्स हमें आर्किटेक्ट ने दिए थे, उसको जस्टिस नहीं हो पाई। रीज़न? रीज़न ये है कि इन दोनों के बीच में एक इंटीरियर डिज़ाइनर आएगा, जो आर्किटेक्ट से कोलैब करेगा, अंडरस्टैंड करेगा फ्रेमवर्क, और इंटीरियर स्टाइलिस्ट को भी गाइड करेगा अकॉर्डिंग टू द थीम। सो हम हायर तो कर लेते हैं प्रोफेशनल्स, विच इज़ वेरी गुड, बट टाइमिंग उनकी देखना इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. That coordination, the timeline is very important. If you want your dream home to be converted into a reality, that timeline of all these three individuals is very important. My suggestion to everybody would be that, choose your architect very carefully, because an interior designer or a stylist have some sort of limitation. They can definitely make your home look aesthetically beautiful, but they can't undo any sort of, loopholes that have been created by an architect. So if the person at phase one is doing his or her job, very dedicatedly, so the job of, the designer or the stylist will definitely be very smooth, and, without any hindrances, and they'll be able to achieve what they actually imagined.